The San Francisco 49ers did something very, very special Monday night. Well, they did a lot of things that were very special, but one thing that they did had multiple NFL experts very impressed. One of them even going like beside himself, saying to everybody that the 49ers just found a new 10-year starter. In today's video, I'm going to tell you what was special, who was special, and what two of the most qualified experts had to say. And later in the show, I've got some information on Christian McCaffrey, some good news there, Leonard Floyd, Alex Smith's big statement, and some very interesting other information about the Rams and a bunch of other stuff. If you're new here, I'm Nate. I love talking the 49ers. Hit that like button, hit that sub button if you haven't yet. The headline today, Brian Baldinger, was on 95.7 The Game, and you literally have to hear what he had to say. I mean, you got to hear it. Okay, I'm going to play the whole clip for you in just a second here, but perhaps the most incredible statement that he made was that the 49ers just found their future right guard for the next 10 years. Big statement after only one football game. I'm going to tell you why in just a minute here, but first, comment below. How are you guys feeling about Dominic Puni right now? Like, he has passed every single test he's been asked of so far and is he's on an absolute ride right now. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, how you feel about Dominic Puni. How good of a pickup was that? Dominic Puni is playing like he should have been a first rounder. I mean, that's just the honest truth. And 31 out of 32 teams passed on this guy multiple times. And here he is, Dominic Puni, a 49er on this team. Well done. Well done, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan and company, because my goodness, the scouting department for the 49ers hit on that one massively, and he was not the only one who hit. Let me give a listen to this. Let me know in the comments what you think, but here's what Baldy had to say about Dominic Puni.
Well, I've done a breakdown on Dominic Puni in all 4 games he's played, 3 in preseason in this game. And even his coach at Kansas hit me up yesterday. They're real proud of him, but he just is, as much as you can be a natural at right guard, he's just a natural. He looks like he's played his game for 5 years. He doesn't make a mistake. He doesn't get beat. In fact, there was a play in the game, Joe, where they literally put C.J. Mosley on the center, and they wanted to isolate Quentin Williams on Dominic Puni in a pass rush situation, on a third down pass rush. They wanted their $100 million man one-on-one with the rookie, and they got him. And all he did was just stand tall and anchor down and not let Quentin beat him. Now, there's not many guys one-on-one that Quentin can't beat in this league. And when I saw Puni stand up to Quentin like that, I'm like, that's about as good an early test as you can get. That's that. In the run game, he takes great angles. He's got great power. He moves bodies because the 49ers are far more than just a finesse offense and a finesse offensive line. They move the line of scrimmage. And Puni's a big part of that. They're not going to get him out of that. That's his position for the next 10 years. Like, he is the right guard for the future. There's nobody that's going to come in and take that job from him. So they found themselves a starter in the 3rd round. And it's just amazing because you can't, in 4 games now, you can't find a bad play from him.
Wow. In 4 games, you can't find a bad play from him. They just found their guy for the next 10 years. Wow. What do you think about that, faithful? As if it couldn't get any better, then there was even more out there. Greg Cosell, NFL genius, football genius, incredible talent scout, incredible at watching the tape and learning and studying the game. And he had some things to say about Dominic Puni as well. Here's what he said later on today.
Yeah, I thought that he showed early in the game and then throughout the game both strength as a run blocker. I thought he was good at one-on-one pass protection. You know, there's 2 blocks that in the run game, more than 2, but 2 that you have to be able to execute in the NFL, or as a guard in particular, or you're not going to be a starting guard. One is the backside cutoff block. So if the zone run game goes away from you, you have to be able to execute the backside cutoff block. Then in the zone run game, when it goes to your side, you have to be able to execute the front side reach block. In other words, the reach block is a case where the player is just outside of you and you have to get outside of him to to seal him to the inside. Those are two blocks that you have to be able to execute, one on the backside, one on the front side, and I thought that he did that very well in this game. And he's going to have to continue to do it well.
Senior producer.
My goodness. So there you go. There's Greg Cassell. That's Greg Cassell. That's Brian Baldinger. That's two of some of the best offensive minds, some of the best football minds in the world, right? Brian Baldinger, of course, has a lot to say and a lot to believe about the offensive line position. He knows that like the back of his hand. But the both of them, of course, well-respected personnel in terms of understanding football. And I'm just like blown away because I feel like what I'm seeing is amazing. And then to hear these top dogs out there saying things like, for the next 10 years, the 49ers found their guy. I mean, yes, it's a little bit of a hot take because the guy's only played one NFL game. But to do it against an incredible defensive line in the New York Jets, to do it against a very, very good overall New York Jets defense, and to do it without Christian McCaffrey and get the stats that we talked about yesterday, that 5.5, nearly, it's like 5.3 yards when running behind Puni. Jordan Mason went 5.3 yards before contact. That's incredible. That is truly incredible. And obviously, blocking, especially zone blocking, it's a team thing. It's not the type of thing that you can give all of the credit to the one guy who's out there doing his job. But you have to at least recognize what Dominic Puni is doing and how big of a difference it's making, seeing that the football is moving both sides, moving left, moving right up the middle. It's pretty awesome. So really wanted to share that with you. That was super, super cool to come across and to have both of those NFL experts on the same day talking about Dominic Puni was special for sure. I got a good sign for you from Kyle Shanahan, on the Christian McCaffrey. Kyle Shanahan saying that a stint on injured reserve is not and has not been a consideration for Christian McCaffrey. Here's what Christian McCaffrey had to say about, how he's feeling about whether or not he's going to start this weekend.
That's how I am every week. I'm not lying. I think as soon as a player says, maybe I'll play, maybe I won't, that's not a good mentality to go into a week with, when you're kind of on the fence. So for me, I'm ready to go.
Is artificial turf any issue with you?
Yeah, if you can't run on turf, you can't run on the field. You can't run on grass, can't run on turf. If you can go, you can go. Did you get a chance? That's how.
So there you go. Christian McCaffrey thinks he's going to play. No surprises there, of course. He was always going to say he's going to play. You could put him, he could have like broken his back and be like, yeah, I'm going to play this weekend. That's where my mentality's at, right? But good for him, and good from Kyle Shanahan to say that he is not on the fast track to IR, that IR is not even a possibility or a consideration right now. Obviously it's a possibility, but not a consideration right now. And it's been interesting to hear doctors' perspectives, see them on Twitter, see them or listen to them on the radio, and kind of hear how they're talking about this tendonitis and what it could mean, what it doesn't mean. And a lot of, I think the best news coming out of it was just that there's not a very clear direct link between tendonitis and long-term injuries to follow. So hopefully that works out well for Christian McCaffrey and we can get him on the field against the Minnesota Vikings. That would be ideal. Leonard Floyd, the man came and played his first ever actual NFL game in the red and gold. How did Leonard Floyd do? He did very well. In Leonard Floyd's first game with the 49ers, he ended up with the second most pressures on the team with 4 and had the only sack. He did this in only 20 pass rush opportunities, and I think that right there is what's special to recognize, right? He did it with such a limited number of opportunities. I was listening to Willard and Dibbs yesterday on the game, and they were doing a great job of just reminding everybody. Like, fantasy football has made us think more about the box score, made us think more about the stat lines. And, we have to go back and remember, right? Even if you're an IDP fantasy league, you got to remember at the end of the day, what you want to see is your players, your edge guys going out there, maintaining their containment. That's important. That's kind of number one, right? But also second most important is making the quarterback uncomfortable, making it so he has to throw the ball fast. And Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Fame caliber quarterback, is out there. He's making sure he's getting the ball released very quickly, even if it means it's an incomplete pass, because he knows if he stays there long enough, he's going to get sacked. And what's going to happen if he gets sacked? He has a risk of getting injured. He's been there. He's seen Floyd do the exact same thing to him. So, yeah, I think that this was always going to set up as a game that would be very, very difficult to get a sack. Very hard, because he was going to get rid of that ball so quickly, and we saw that from him. What I will say is we need to accept, and I thought this was a great point from Willard and Dibbs, that we need to accept that stats are not the only way to measure success on the defensive line, and we need to be happy with the pressures. We need to be happy with the feeling of pressure, just the violence that's happening on the line, and how messed up that offensive line looks after 3 seconds. So anyway, congrats to Leonard Floyd in his first football game for the San Francisco 49ers, his 9th season in the NFL, and he's continuing right where he left off. He's going to look good this season, and he's definitely going to love the help that he's getting from defensive end Nick Bosa. We got to give credit to Malik Collins out there doing a great job in run blocking and stopping the run as well. Let's see here. Alex Smith, if you didn't hear this, my goodness. Alex Smith said these words on the Pat McAfee show today. I think Brock Purdy's got the most courage in the pocket than anybody in the NFL. The most courage in the pocket than anybody in the NFL. Those are strong words. I'm interested in what you think about those words. There was some controversy, I suppose is a word you could use to describe how people responded to Alex Smith's comments on the Pat McAfee show. But I feel like that is a strong statement from a guy who leans toward the 49ers in his affinities, and you understand his bias in the situation. But that's awesome. Good for you, Alex, and good for you, Brock Purdy. You earned it. The bad news for the Rams, my goodness. As you know, Puka Nacua ended up on IR, but now when you look at it all together, because they just placed Steve Avila on IR as well, and Joe Noteboom. So the Rams are currently down 6 starters and 3 of their 5 starting O-linemen. My word. No, you never want to say injuries. You don't want to celebrate other teams' injuries. That's not how it works. This team is too good, especially, to be doing that. That's the dirty work of teams like the Raiders. We don't need to do that. Our team is too good to be acting like that. But you do at least recognize that when these injuries hit on the Rams, and you're going to play them in a couple of weeks, that is going to impact what your defensive line can do against a football team that really likes to throw the ball. So, we'll see how that plays out, but that's crazy. That's a crazy situation. Super unlucky for them. Other things that I wanted to throw out there that we just have to mention there, David Lombardi with this tweet today saying that the top 2 enforced fumbles in 49ers franchise history were both in the locker room Monday night, being Patrick Willis and Fred Warner, of course. And Fred Warner only 4 forced fumbles away from the all-time greatest. There you go. And then interesting, Nick Bosa on that list as well, only 6 behind. Another thing that I thought was kind of interesting there, when you're thinking about what you're going to be seeing for those of you that are watching from home like I will be, the 49ers this weekend. 49ers are expected to take up 34% of the seats at US Bank Stadium on Sunday in Minnesota, according to Vivid Seats fan forecast. That is pretty wild. 34%. It's going to feel a lot like a home game. It's not going to be a massive home field advantage for Minnesota Vikings fans. So how about that? I'll take it. I think it's interesting. I think it's cool. That's all I got for you today, guys. I'm so excited as we get 4 days away from the Minnesota Vikings now. We're getting closer, and it's just exciting. We're in the football season now. Now we're there. It's happening, and we're always, a handful of days away from the next game. So let's go. Let's gear up. 49ers at the facility, training. Let's go. I'm super pumped, as always. What a time to be alive.